there goes the fucking event. What is up, guys? So we finally made it out to NCM for SCCA Time Trial Nationals. I'm super excited to be here. Actually, this is day 2. Yesterday was practice. I got a little footage I might throw into the video from practice yesterday, but we did pretty good. We ended up 3rd overall out of the 194 cars that are here, so I'm super happy with that. We were 2nd fastest in class. We are in the unlimited class, so we're in the faster group. That Viper there, this Viper GTS, was actually the fastest car of the entire, actually overall out of all 194 cars, so definitely some stiff competition, but that's okay. They're also tying this event in with Ford Fest, so hopefully we are the fastest Mustang out here, and still hoping to be competitive in class. So we are going to get ready here for the track sprint session. This is kind of a little different than anything I'm used to. It's basically a point-to-point on-track sprint session. So we start somewhere around turn 6 out there, somewhere way back there. And then it finishes, hell, I don't even know where it finishes. So it's basically almost like an autocross, but on track. There's no cones or anything. It's just basically a sprint from one point of the track to another point of the track, and then after that we get into the full track time attack session. So that is where I like to make my money, so to speak. But yeah, guys, so we are going to get suited up here as soon as they call our class and get ready for this track sprint. This is the first group here that's about to go out. That 1LE right there is actually the 2nd fastest car. So we got the Viper was top fastest, the ZL1 1LE was 2nd fastest, and then yours truly was 3rd fastest. The driver there of the ZL1 1LE is Tom Ogerman. He's actually an IMSA Pro driver, so like I said before in a previous video, guys, I have no problem losing to a faster car or a pro driver. So, you know, if that's all that, you know, ends up in front of me is a pro driver and, you know, a much quicker car, I'm okay with that. So let's get suited up and get ready for our first session. Alright, guys, so this is where things started to go south for me. We were supposed to get 3 time track sprint sessions. However, due to some issues early on in the morning, they did have to take away one of those sessions, which left us all with only 2 chances to lay down our best lap possible. And unfortunately, due to a little bit of a miscommunication between me and the guy at the tent here, I was not aware of the proper starting procedure, and I actually was almost going to stop for that first gate there. However, it's a rolling start. We were supposed to kind of blow right through that, and then the time starts there. I quickly realized that that was the case. However, I also quickly realized that this first run was going to be scrapped because I went through that gate so slowly. And at this point, I'm thinking, let me just put a little bit of heat in the tires. That way I have the best traction possible for what's going to be my one and only attempt at it. So here I start to turn it up a little bit. I kind of want to gauge how much traction I think I'm going to have once I finally do let her loose for the next time session here. So again, I just want to put a little bit of heat in the tires and kind of gauge how much traction I think I'm going to have. It was actually pretty greasy out there. The track was really hot. It was about 97 degrees, so there wasn't a whole lot of traction available, especially being on cold tires. Last corner here, I believe we clocked a 1 minute and 20-second lap, which honestly I was kind of surprised that the fastest lap done was a 1 minute and 10, and being that we were just putting around out there, I mean, 1 minute and 20 was kind of surprising, honestly. And here we are for our final attempt. I was really kind of just overdriving the car here. I knew deep down inside that this was my only chance at laying down a good lap. That 120 that I did definitely wasn't going to be anywhere near cutting it. And the times to win your class is cumulative, meaning they take your time from your track sprint and add it to your best lap from the time attack sessions, and that is how they figure out who wins, at least for your class. There was also going to be a fastest Ford or fastest Mustang award given, so I was still definitely in it for that. And here you'll see I blow the braking zone here, was just overdriving it, tried to drive it in too deep, got into ABS and couldn't get her slowed down. Alright, so needless to say, guys, I was pretty frustrated with myself after the track sprint session, which pretty much took us out of any chance at a class win. But we were still very much in it for fastest Ford, being that this was tied into Holly Ford Fest. And I still also wanted to go out and show that we could lay down one of the fastest lap times of the event in the time attack session. So this was going to be the very first officially timed time attack session of the weekend. The only full hot laps I had gotten up to this point was on Friday during practice, which, like I said earlier in the video, guys, out of the 194 cars that showed up to the event on practice, we were third fastest overall. So I definitely had really high hopes for this event. Just unfortunately, it just, you know, that's how it is sometimes. It just wasn't my day. All right, here we come onto the front straight for our first hot lap, which unfortunately, as you'll see in a moment, we didn't even get to finish our very first hot lap of the weekend due to a mechanical failure. It's pretty unfortunate too, because this was looking at the data that I do have from the lap. Typically I run my best lap on my second hot lap. Usually gives me one hot lap to kind of feel where my traction is, and then on my second hot lap is usually where I get my best times. This again was my first hot lap, and looking at the data, it looks like we were at least a half a second ahead of our personal best just in the first sector. Harry's lap timer splits the track into 2 sectors, so about a half a second ahead of pace in the first sector. So it looks like we were headed for a solid 2:12, which is a very good lap at NCM, especially for a Mustang. Deception there, heading up towards Tabletop, and then Faux Rouge hitting probably about 135 mile an hour right there. Pretty fast, pretty fun corner. And then as we approach Sinkhole here, this is where the shifter linkage lets go. Basically what happened is the shifter linkage sheared off one of the bolts right there, and then gets into a little bit of a battle royale with my drive shaft. Not a good sound. At that point I noticed out of the corner of my eye that my shifter was in 12th or 13th gear, which I was pretty sure that I didn't have that many gears, so that is the end of my event right there. We done. That's not supposed to be like that. This ain't supposed to move like this. Pretty sure of that. Alright guys, so this one definitely didn't go our way, but we're going to order a new shifter for her and then hopefully have her back on track within the next month or so we can see what she's actually got in her. So stay tuned guys, thanks for watching.